Welcome. I'm Kevin Perrington-Turner from the Asbury Park Press. I am here with Dave Callahan. Sir, how you doing?
How are you, Kev? Good to
I'm
see
good,
you.
man.
Good
Thank
to
you for
see you.
coming here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Anytime we get a chance to talk hoops,
Yes.
that's what it's all about.
And tomorrow is the short conference tournament.
Yes,
It's gonna be a big one. I'm excited for it. So I just want to ask you some questions, talk hoops, if you don't mind.
absolutely. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Absolutely love to.
I'm gonna start with the first question. The PowerPoints. Instead of like all the coaches congregating, what's your opinion on all of that? Do you like it?
I think it may need to be tweaked slightly, but I love the concept of it. I don't know whether you want to call it fortunate or unfortunate enough to be the division rep for a few times. And I think this takes the politics out of it because, as much as coaches are trying to do the right thing, there is pressure in that room and there is some, things that I didn't necessarily agree with when I sat in that room, and you voice your opinion and fight it. But I think going to a more technical method is definitely the way to do it. But I do think it needs to be tweaked. I think the Red Bank Catholics, the SJVs, the teams that did play big out-of-state competition were penalized.
Right.
Sure.
And that's the biggest thing because, I was there for girls soccer short conference tournament, and I saw Wall versus Milltown South. First round.
Right.
And that was
two great programs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I agree. It is tough, but, I think either way, if you want to be the champion, you just got to have to go through them either way, right?
I agree. So it kind of – it may obviously the round of 16 and the round of 8, it may affect those games a little bit. But once you get past Thursday night's games, you're on neutral court anyway.
Yeah.
So like you said, if you want to be the champion, you got to get through everybody anyway. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to just start with this. First rank is Manasquan. Second, SJV. St. Rose, RBC, RBR. I'm not mad at it.
Right.
I'm not mad at it. It kind of makes sense. Like you said, RBC, they had a tough schedule against out-of-state teams, national ranked players, and all those things. And number 4, I don't think they mind it,
No, I don't think so. I think when you kind of look at it, Manasquan to me is a surprise at the short conference, and we shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They lost a lot last year. They lost Collins. They, who's at Penn. They lost Masonis, who's I live at
Bucknell.
Yep. And they lost McKenna Carlson, who's up at UNH.
Yes.
Just 3 absolute phenomenal players, and that was all their size too.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of expected Manasquan to take this step back. Then they lost one of their taller players, transferred out of the program, and they were bolstered when they got the transfer in. But I think, to me, Lisa Kakuta is a shoo-in for Coach of the Year because I think when you kind of look at what she lost and what was expected out of her, to have the number 1 seed in the short conference tournament, to me, is just amazing. My hat's off to her because she's done a phenomenal job this year.
I might give some pushback right now. Okay. I'm not going to say my final pick, but excuse me for forgetting the name, but the coach from Barnegat. Yeah. Ocean County team, won the division, first time in program history. I think Lisa has done a great job too. Yeah. But
I know she's gotten so many accolades over the year and had so many great games over the year. But I always, and listen, I always look for these coaches where, to me, the coaches that kind of get the best out of their teams are the ones where not much is expected. Now, we expect Manasquan to be a 2-18 team. No, obviously they have talent down there. Their players are fantastic, but the way she's got them playing together and pulling together, I think she's done an amazing job. I really do.
I was there Sunday when they played St. Thomas Aquinas. They was down going to the 4th. Kaden Clark transferred from Ocean.
Yep.
And she hit 10 points. They came back and won. So Manasquan they're a tough one in the short conference. I was also there Friday, SJV RBC. Great game.
Like that sounded like an instant classic.
It was. Yeah. What a lot of the schedules now, because of the PowerPoints, a lot of schedules are flipped in the second half. Right. So you don't see as many teams playing everybody in the short. What do you have an opinion on that?
Listen, being in the same division with St. John Vianney and Red Bank Catholic, and us having a young rebuilding year, it was humbling for us. It was the first game when we played Red Bank Catholic. You're trying to get to another team's bench and you're trying to figure out where you have advantages and how you can take advantages and where you can score and how you can get the game in your favor. They're unbelievable. Like when they bring players off the bench, there's no drop off.
Yeah.
None. And they're long, they're fast, they're athletic. And the same thing with Vianney. I mean, the size that they have and the skill that they have along with it. But I will say, playing them twice, the second game, we got blown out in the second half, but that first half was 24-20.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't even close to that the first time we played them. And then against Vianney, they beat us by 20-25 points, but we played tough.
Yeah.
And so there is some positives to playing, but I do like the idea of seeing more short teams.
Yeah.
Playing 8 games. To me, the division, we've been fortunate enough to be, I think, won the public school division for every year since I've been there. So to me, I would rather play a Barnegat,
mm-hmm.
Someone else than having to play these same powerhouses twice. I think everybody, it benefits everybody in the Shore to play each other.
For sure.
I really do.
For sure. And I think that's what makes the Shore Conference tournament so interesting this year is that you guys all played each other. The top teams all play each other like twice.
Yep.
So it makes it's tough to win a third time.
Well, it's amazing. Like we talk going back to Manasquan and St. Rose. I mean, they had a game Friday, and when I saw the Manasquan St. Rose game, the results of the first game, I would, I'm not going to say I was shocked, but I was mildly surprised that Manasquan won kind of handily the first game. I think they won by 8-10 points, but it was a very close game all the way through. I've played St. Rose. We didn't play this year. They actually asked us to play, and I said, listen, we got to play Vianney twice. We got to play RBC twice. I said, and we have a young team. I said, Chrissy, can we just kind of put it off for a year or so?
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised because St. Rose, to me, they're fantastic, as we saw them. Beating RBC earlier in the year. And to see the Manasquan go in and beat them in their own gym and then kind of run away with it in the second half. Because every time we play St. Rose, we're in it for a half to 3/4, and they kind of run away from us.
Yeah.
It's impressive, man. It really is, So I think there is something nice about playing a home and home, but I would prefer, to play an RBC once and a Manasquan once, a St. John Vianney once and a St. Rose once, or however you want to set it up. I think it's better for everybody.
For sure. I agree. Let's get to the first round matchups, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to go with Colts Neck versus Freehold Borough. I'll be at that game tomorrow.
Okay.
Colts Neck, they have a good freshman lineup, a couple of freshmen in the start lineup that's been playing great. And Freehold Borough's been winning some games. What do you think of it?
They are. Listen, I haven't seen, I'm going to be frank, I haven't really seen much of Freehold Borough this year. I know Coach is doing a great job out there. Colts Neck is, listen, I've known Nick Russos. He's one of the first people I met when I started coaching on the girls' side. I don't know if you know this. He's one of the best players ever to play in the short history.
I've heard that.
He's a fantastic player. And, all Nick needed was to kind of get some talent to stay home, and now he's doing that. So it sounds like it's going to be an interesting game. What do you know about Borough?
I don't know much. I do know they have like some consistent scores, and they've been winning games.
Yeah,
they've been winning a lot of games.
It's not easy to win in the Shore, so that's fantastic.
Absolutely,
it should be a great game.
I agree. Next one, Lacey versus Neptune.
Listen, we had the opportunity to play Neptune.
Yes, I like Neptune.
Yeah, they have two of the quickest guards in the Shore, and they got a team that can shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We played them at home. We're fortunate enough to play them at home, and we kind of started to pull away, but they fought back and made it a really close game all the way through and through. So again, not having seen Lacey play much
either,
knowing the strength of Neptune's guards, I think it's going to be really tough to go in at Neptune and beat Neptune. But that's why we play the games.
What I do know about both teams is like height isn't going to play a big factor in this one. It's going to be mostly guard play, and I know Krista Ramos scored 1,000 points. She's really good, and they play.
You cannot leave her open.
No,
you have to shut her down.
Yeah,
because that was the focus of our game, because we knew anytime she got a wide open shot, we felt like it was going to go in.
Yeah.
So. It should be a fun one.
And that full court press is deadly from them too. So we'll see.
Yep.
Next, Middletown North versus Shore.
That will be a great game.
It's going to be a great one.
That will be a great game. We've had the opportunity to play both teams. We played Middletown North on opening night, and they're still very young. You know, they still have a lot of really good young players, and they got some great they got guard talent there. Shore has, kind of, I call it the three-headed monster with their three guards. They're not big, they're not physically imposing, but man, are they quick. Their three guard front with Reese, Kimmy, and
Ava.
the Coil.
Yeah.
The Coil, yeah. And all three of them can shoot it. So we just when we played Shore, our focus was, we know one of them is going to get us for a couple points, but we're not going to let all three of them get us. That was our focus. And listen, it's going to be an interesting game. I think the biggest thing for that game is who controls the pace. If Shore gets that into an up and down game, I don't know that that's going to benefit Mid-North at all. If Mid-North can kind of control the pace and get good shots, then I think it can be a very, very interesting game.
I like that one. I also got to see Shore play, and they do have really good guard play. I like Ava. I like Kimmy and Reese. They're fast, very fast.
Yeah, they're quick, ridiculously quick. Ridiculously quick. And he's got some solid support players around them as well. So,
absolutely.
And he's a great coach. Will's a great coach. And I know Coach Bowler's taken over at Middletown North and done a great job, keeping that program together and keeping it moving down the road, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. The next one, I like this game. Homedale versus Brick.
That is a great
I love that one.
Because there's a lot of freshmen playing in this game.
Yes.
A lot of freshmen. And listen, you got to start with Mackenzie.
Holy Cross.
Yeah. We have a senior up there. Grace Mott's a senior up there right now. And so I have a special place in my heart for Holy Cross. I almost wore my Holy Cross sweatshirt.
You should have.
But Mackenzie is just a special kid. I mean, obviously, at her height, at her skill level, you just don't see that in high school basketball very often. So, but that's going to be the battle of the freshmen. The freshman guards down at Brick, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So that'll be a really, really interesting game.
Yeah. I got a chance to see Ariana Wisson from Brick. She's very just high IQ, handles, shoots it, defends well. And then Riley, the senior going to East Stroudsburg, she's a shooter. So she can get going at any time. I like this one. I see Mackenzie. She's a double-double machine. I was at the game.
Yeah.
You guys play each other.
Yep.
She can also shoot it. So
she can. Listen, I like Mackenzie because she's got to help with the younger guards with the ball handle. They've also got a young freshman at Homedale who's kind of tearing it up, Casey Zandon. She can really shoot the ball. I had the pleasure of coaching her in AAU a couple years back. And she's a tough kid. She's smart. And she's getting better all the time with all the experience she's had. But that's going to be a very, very interesting game. Should be a fun one to watch. And in the summer league, we had Ariana kind of made her debut before she started at Brick here. I think she had one game, I'm not mistaken, she had 32 points against a high-level team.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about her is she's kind of just got this steady face. She doesn't get too high. She doesn't get too low. She doesn't try to force. She lets the game come to her. And man, does Brick have a bright future with those young guards. And I know they're gonna miss their senior, but what a great team they have.
Absolutely, I can't wait for that one. Freehold Township versus Barnegat.
Yeah, this is gonna be this. Listen, I think you touched on Barnegat earlier. They got some great talent down there.
They do. Riley Fitzpatrick. There's this not new. She's a senior, but she didn't play. Name's Anaya now. She had like 35 and 36 the last game. Wow. She's a forward that just like a double machine, and she's kind of like, to me, like their secret weapon. I'm not sure if Emma Thorne's gonna play. Okay. I heard some maybe she's injured. Okay. I don't want to confirm that. I don't know, but she's an all-time rebounder for like the school, like 1,000 points.
All those coaches know Emma well.
Oh, she's insane. So I like Barnegat. Freehold Township, they have Gabby Parker. They have the soccer girls that play basketball. So they're freak athletes. It's going to be an interesting one.
We had the pleasure of playing Freehold Township last year. I think we're in the same division. And they're the one thing about them, they're kind of like a Tom's River East team. You know what I mean? They're so athletic and so fast. if they can kind of create some havoc, they can cause problems for anybody.
Yeah, I like that. That's all for the first round. I like it. I can't wait for it. It's tomorrow. You get a bye.
Yeah.
So you got Trinity Hall. I know you can't give no game plan.
Listen,
what do you think about Trinity Hall this
season? We played Trinity Hall in our second game of the season. And I think the score was like 32-23.
I was there.
It was an absolute rock fight. Nobody could buy a basket. Grace Feeney kind of got to the line a lot, and I think she probably had 10 or 12 points from the line. But both teams, I think, have tremendously improved since then. I had the pleasure to watch Trinity at the Homedale at the showcase event there last Sunday, and they battled Rutgers Prep right till the end. I think it was a 5-point game. We know how talented Rutgers Prep is, and Coach Matt McCarthy and I are very good friends. We're frenemies, I guess you want to call it. And he prides himself on defense. We kind of pride ourselves on some defense. So it's going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. We were trying to pick up a game for tomorrow night. We've got some notes out there, but nothing. I like to play. I like to keep our kids sharp that way. But hopefully a little more scoring for the fans. That was a tough game to watch. That first night.
No, I love the game. Like you said, I mean, Aaron Reed is so good, and then Grace Feeney, who they have much more basketball to play in their career, and it's like it was still kind of a tough one. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I enjoyed it. We'll just go for the next other seeds in the tournament. 6 is Howell.
Yep.
I got a chance to see Howell, Karen McCown, rebounder, double. She just averages like a double.
Yeah, she's so active and so athletic. She can really control the middle of the paint. And what's the other girl they
Kylie
have?
Beam?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's a heck of a 1-2 punch inside. A 4 or 5 combination that many teams in the shore have a hard time matching up with.
They won their first sectional title.
Yeah, they did last year. Yeah, we played them last year. We were fortunate enough to play them last year. Kara actually got hurt in the game. But they're exceptionally well coached. Coach Joe does a great job down there as well.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see them play. 7.
Now, who would they play in the first round? They're playing 6 would play. Are they playing?
I want to say Townsville East.
Okay.
I got to check again, but I believe it's Townsville East, which should be a good one. What do you know about
game? Well, listen, Coach Kevin down there with Tom's River East. I mean, they play, and I haven't seen him play this year, but he's kind of known for a really active 2-3 zone.
Yeah.
You talked about the Freehold Township with a lot of soccer players. It's kind of what Tom's River East motto, modus operandi has been. And I hate playing them because their kids are so athletic and so active, and he does a great job putting them in the right spots. And obviously, they got a great record this year.
They do.
I haven't seen what they're up to now, but I think they only had 3 or 4 losses, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they got decent speed. I like them. Next is Randy at versus Point Borough. I love Randy this year.
Yeah, listen, what's not to love about it?
They're the sleeper of the tournament to me.
I don't disagree with you because, listen, they've got, I think Michelle Steele is committed Division II. We know Ashley has already got, I don't know how many offers she has, but not just, high offers because, I mean, she can run like a deer. She can make shots, and her work rate is just fantastic. And then, of course, their point guard is just, she's heading off to
Lafayette.
Yeah. So, they're a tough out. I mean,
they are.
I've seen them play. I've got a couple game tapes for mutual opponents on them, and I'm like, that's a great team right there, an absolutely fantastic team.
They really are. And
they could be the sleeper of the tournament. The one, usually in the short conference tournament, once you get past the 4 or 5 seeds, the top 3 or 4, maybe 5, some years, nobody really has a chance. This year, the 7th seed has a really good chance to win this tournament.
I agree. I've seen them play Haley Poser. She can get a bucket at any point. She can just drop 25, and then Ashley can do the same. She could shoot. She could rebound. She can pass it. She can dribble it up. Like she's so.
The other thing that Coach Lenny has now is before she'd have 2 or 3 really good basketball players, and then she'd kind of have a fall off where maybe a couple soccer kids that never really played that much basketball. Now she has, I think, 6 or 7 basketball players that are all basketball players. So when she makes a sub or she has to put somebody in, there's not a weak spot you can attack anymore. Now there's all kids that know what they're doing. that know how to play the game.
Absolutely.
So they don't have that fall off that they might have had in the past when they actually had to go to the bench or even one of past starters in the past.
They got some depth. They're a good team. I'm excited for Rainey. Well, that and then you play Trinity Hall, so yeah. That's it for like the first and second round. But I want to ask some questions because you've been in the Shore for however many years.
But it's my 9th year on the girls' side. I can't believe I'm saying the 17th.
Yeah, I didn't want to age you out.
No, that's all right. I'm old. I know. It's all good. It's all good.
What's like your best memory of the Shore Conference tournament? Like wildest memory, wildest game, like wildest ending, whatever you have.
Wow, there have been. Listen, since I've been in the Shore Conference, there have been just some absolutely. I'm trying to think of one specifically, but. Listen, I think just if we go back to last year, I think kind of everybody had kind of targeted Red Bank Catholic as the team to kind of win the tournament last year. And I talked to people and I said, watch out for Manasquan.
Yeah.
Watch out for Manasquan. They got size and they play defense. And I think, when Manasquan got them last year, I think that kind of sent kind of a shock wave through the Shore. I know Vienna got Manasquan in the Shore Conference in the final last year, but that to me was an unbelievable game. But just when I go through and I think of the players that I've had the opportunity to play against, watching, just names like Leilani Correa, who was at Manchester when they played St. John Vianney in the final with death. I mean, think about that team. They had Leilani Correa. She was committed to West Virginia. She ended up playing at St. John's in Florida. Going to Destiny Adams, a McDonald's All-American. Their point guard, her name escapes me, it'll come to me, but she was going to Penn. They had a guard who I think Gabby Ross was on that team. They had Angel Velez, who played at LSU. Wow. I mean, this is a high school team.
Yeah.
And the talent in a public high school team, and think about the talent that's on that team. And watching them play against Vienna in the final, I was like, oh my gosh, like they are lights out.
Yeah.
And watching them play, and then going back, to the first year I coached in the tournament, St. Rose was absolutely loaded that year, and Manasquan was, they had Dara Mabry, who ended up at Notre Dame, and they had Faith Masonis, who was at Maryland and now at Seton Hall.
Yeah.
And then they had Lola Mullaney, who went on to be, she was a star, an absolute star at Harvard, now coaching at Monmouth University. And then they had, and you just felt like it kept rolling down the list going. They had Stella, a small point guard who played at Northeastern, and then was all league up there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting there going, how is this possible?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That there's this much talent in this concentrated area down here, and it was really just amazing. I remember we played that same Manasquan team in the state final that year. We walked in the gym, and there was 60 college coaches just lined up against the wall for both teams at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing and fun to watch. So the litany of talent. You go to Vienna, I mean, how about a team with Madison St. Rose and Zoe Brooks in the same backcourt?
Yeah.
I mean, we know, Madison's at, unfortunately, her year was cut short by injury, but talk about just a stone cold killer on the court, man. I talk about just keeping your emotions in check and never getting too high, too low. Whether she was up 30 or down 2 with a minute to go, the look on Madison St. Rose, her face never changed. She never got rattled, and she always made a big shot. She was a 3-time New Jersey Player of the Year, which is unheard of. And then the first time I saw Zoe Brooks was up at No Boys Allowed, and I think she was a freshman. And I was like, oh my goodness, that girl has talent.
Yeah.
Oozing off the charts. I mean, she put on a couple moves, and I was like, holy mackerel. So you go back and we're not even mentioning the amazing litany of complementary players that St. John's has had that are all, look at Taylor Sofacanic has scored 44 points the other day.
Her sister Ashley, yes.
Yeah, scored 44.
Yeah, in Bucknell. Yeah.
It's just, and then of course Red Bank Catholic is just, has rolled through with amazing talent. St. Rose, we talked about Manasquan. There's just been just a litany of just high, I didn't know what I was getting into when they asked me to take over the RFH program, but man, it has been a ton of fun. I was fortunate enough to have a kid named Tori Hyduk. My first short conference tournament quarterfinal, we're down at Toms River North at the I don't know what they call it now, but we got down like 18-0, and Tori scored. I think she scored 20 points in a row, and got us back to like 6 points at halftime. And I was like, just give the ball. Great coaching. just give the ball to Tori and let her do her thing. So the talent that has been through this short conference and this tournament is just it's harder to win than a state tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Also, I will say I gotta leave with one more question. SJV, they won last year. And like all this year, they still have.
You're not doing this. You're not asking. Rumson-Fair Haven.
I gotcha. All right.
No, that's right. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Last year, it seemed like RBC was the favorite, like you just mentioned, and then somehow SJV, like they won so many titles. It's just like Dawn. It's just she just gets them ready, and it just seems like the same thing here. Like RBC kind of made like she's gonna get ready.
I don't know. I truly this year do not know who's gonna win.
Gotcha.
We mentioned Randy, and I think the reason why the seeding is kind of important is, I know that Manasquan and RBR played in a showcase earlier this year down at I think it was at one of the colleges down in Ocean County, and it was a very close game. It was probably a tie score going into the last 3 minutes. So here, John Truhan at RBR, who's had a phenomenal year. I know they're dealing with an injury now. Hopefully she's back soon. Sanaya's back soon. But, he battles and he gets the number 5 seed in the Shore. And, he played a Manasquan team to a very close game. I think it was a 4 or 6 point game. It might have got stretched out with free throws and fouling at the end. But now he's the 5 seed.
Yeah.
And should he win his opening round game, he gets the pleasure of the 4 seed of Red Bank Catholic, who's already played twice, and it's a tough matchup for anybody. So that's where I think the seeding could be tweaked a little bit better. I don't know why, and this is maybe something we could talk to the short, maybe not the state not doing, but the short conference. Even if we keep the multiplier at 1, with the PowerPoint system, there's a multiplier based on the strength of schedule, but at least give these. If a team is 17 or 16-0 or 15-1, whatever it might be, at least give them the credit for the record.
Yeah.
And I think that would kind of offset the PowerPoints a little bit and might be a little bit more accurate of where true indication of where teams are. Because I think St. Rose has actually had more PowerPoints than SJV, but because SJV beat St. Rose, they jumped them, right?
Yeah.
So, listen, the bottom line is you got to go through everybody, right? So, I mean, if, you get a quarterfinal game where Trinity Hall, RFH winner, plays Manasquan, whoever wins the 16-17 game winner, then you're in the, now you're playing a 4-5 game where maybe the most talented team, on paper.
Yeah.
So, you are the 1 seed, but, now you're playing or in the semifinal instead of the final, and that's where I think it gets a little bit. But let me ask you this: you're in a seeding meeting, and you take the PowerPoints out. How are you ranking the teams?
I think you gotta go the NCAA way. You gotta do like the resume building. Like
so if, and I don't want to put you on the spot.
You can put me on the spot.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah,
you're not putting me on the spot. So if I ask you who's your number 1 seed this year, who would you have as your number 1 seed?
I would say SJV, and then RBC's probably 2.
I would say so. RBC, since they beat them twice, would automatically jump them, and they would be the number 1 seed. Right?
Yeah, I mean
the way it's always worked in the seeding tournament is you vote. So every division. So you would, if I'm the division rep and I'm repping 6 teams, I would say Coach Kevin.
I was there last year.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Give me your resume. But just for people out here, just to understand how it works, give me your resume. And I'd say, where do you think you should be ranked? And then we go through and we get every coach in our division, and we present for our division, and then we vote. Where we should be, and and then they'd tabulate the votes. They'd come back and they'd say, okay, here's what we've got.
Yeah.
And one of the automatic challenges was if RFH was, for example, Randy was actually 8 and Trinity Hall was 7 on the PowerPoint scale, but because Randy had beaten Trinity Hall, they got bumped up to 7.
That would make sense.
So I would tell you that as much as I respect SJV, RBC would be ranked ahead. If you did that, if you voted that way, RBC would appeal and they would be pushed ahead because they beat St. Champion twice.
Well, what would you say if it's like RBC? You can make that case, but you can also make the case RBC had a tough schedule out of state, but they lost some of those games.
Right.
And they lost some of the games in state.
Right.
Morris Catholic.
They lost to St. Rose.
Yeah. St. Rose and Morris Catholic.
There's no shame.
There's no shame in none of these.
Morris Catholic.
Absolutely.
I scrimmaged those twins when they were freshmen, and I was like, I told Coach Lovett at the time, I said, "You're never allowed back."
Yeah.
Right, so
oh, they're insane. They're insane
for 5 years. All right. So.
They're insane. But like, SJV played. They have their wins, and I get it. RBC did beat them twice, but. Right. That's where it gets tricky because and you can make the case for SJV.
Yeah, and listen, you could make this case for St. Rose beat RBC and Manasquan beat St. Rose twice.
Mm-hmm.
So then you could kind of through the laws of transitive properties, you could say, well, now Manasquan, maybe the seeds are correct.
Yeah. There's no right answer to that.
No. So, but I think when you go to a scientific method. Because there are times when I probably if in my 8 years before this year, it's my 9th year coaching. Like I said, in the 8 years, there were probably 4 years where I was the division rep, maybe 3 or 4. And when I had to make a phone call to a coach that thought she should be I'm making it up, 3 seed, and she was the 4 or 5 seed, she was pissed at me.
Really?
She, or he was pissed at me. Like, how could you let that happen? Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I fought. And then coaches kind of pitch coaches against coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Am I a salesperson? Am I going to call up every coach that's going to be there and say, hey, politics got involved? So I think the one thing this does is takes that human element out of it. I think we just need to tweak it and I think if we give the records, make it a 1 multiplier, give the records of the out-of-state teams, I think that could be a way to fix it. Yeah. I really do.
I like that.
On the boys' side, right? Didn't they have the same problem like St. Rose?
That I don't know.
I think on the boys' side, the St. Rose is like the 4 seed, and I think they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
They've beaten Manasquan twice, who's the 1 seed, and they've beaten. I don't know that they've lost to a short conference opponent, and that's where you, again, I think because they played so many out-of-state games. They don't get credit for that competition that they played, and that really hurts.
I mean, that makes sense. I would put RBC first. Now that you explain it, but we'll see. We'll see how the tournament. Anybody go in?
I don't want to piss anybody off. Right?
Me either.
Just
talking hoops.
I mean, it's fun, man. I mean, that's the best part about it. And then, with the state, we've always as my coach, my philosophy in coaching was I always wanted to go out and challenge and play the most competitive schedule that we could. And if they didn't have the PowerPoint system this year, the way they changed it with strength of schedule, we're 11-10, and as of this morning, we're the 2 seed in Central Jersey Group 2. Now we're ahead of teams that are 14-2, or 18-2, 19-2, or 15-6. So we, in a year where you take that out, we're probably the 11 seed, the 10 seed, the 9 seed. So I think the PowerPoint system has been a real positive for. I just think from the short conference we can tweak it a little bit. I think that's a great way to do it.
I like it. I like it.
We need a math major to figure out.
I'm an English major.
We need a math major to figure out how to inject that, but I think that would be the way to do it.
Absolutely.
And keep it where it's scientific.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all I got. Did you have anything else to say?
No, I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah.
This is the best 2 weeks in basketball at the Shore, and then the states take over after that. Where, the one thing about the Shore is some of the teams that never get to see a Red Bank Catholic or an SJV.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's funny because, I went to group text with some kids that have graduated, and, like they'll say, oh my God, Zoe Brooks, we played against her, and so this is kind of a memory for kids to say, hey, Addie Nemchek's going to be playing at wherever she's going to end up committing to. They're going to be telling their kids, if she's in the WNBA someday, hey, I played against her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That is really cool.
I think that's, the games may not be competitive, but those are memories that you're never going to forget.
Absolutely. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, me too.
Starts tomorrow, starts Tuesday. I'm excited for it. Dave Callahan, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
Yes, and we'll see you guys later. Peace. Perfect.